Hello, fellow metalheads. I'm going to do another top four tonight. Tonight I'm going to do Metallica. And I always try to open with a little story, a little metal story. My metal story with Metallica is went to the mall with a friend of mine, and we had read about Metallica in a Kerrang magazine. You old schoolers probably remember the Kerrang magazine. Anyways, we read a little bit about them here and there. We never heard them. And this was probably 1984, late 1984, something like that. We went over to a place called JR's Music, and we looked around, and sure enough, they had a Metallica tape there. They had Ride the Lightning, Extended Dynamic Range, and we bought it, and of course, blown away. Great album, as you all know, and just an amazing thing to listen to on the way home. I never heard anything like it, so that was my introduction to Metallica, was Ride the Lightning. And then later on in 1986, I got to see them open for Ozzy. They were on their Master of Puppets tour. Ozzy was doing the Ultimate Sin tour with Jakey Lee on guitar. That was 86, and shortly thereafter, Cliff Burton passed away after they left the country to go tour the world. And so I was honored and privileged to see Cliff Burton with Metallica in 1986. And I count myself fortunate to have seen them then, and I've seen them later on too. But that was the concert that always stuck in my mind, was the 86 one with Burton still alive. But anyways, my top four Metallicas. And for number four, I don't really have a number four on this one. All of mine have been top fours so far. So I'm gonna stick Garage Days in there. It's probably my favorite of the ones that didn't make it into the top three. For me, Metallica released 3 great albums. And after that, I could just really take them or leave them. If you put Harvester of Sorrow off of Justice for All and Sad But True off the Black Album, or whatever you want to call that album, that's basically all I'd need in the top 3. I'm not a big fan of those albums. I thought Justice for All was, it's technically brilliant, but it's also very, to me, kind of dry and disconnected. Like they were trying too hard to be perfect. I don't know, it just doesn't, emotionally it doesn't touch me very much. It didn't do much for me. I know a lot of younger guys that kind of missed out on the early Metallica wave and maybe cut their teeth on Justice for All, think it's the greatest album ever, and I personally don't see it. I was never a big fan of that album. Once again, the playing on it's brilliant, but it's just so technically overdone, I think. And of course the Black Album is just, to me, really commercial with Enter Sandman and that sort of thing. Sad But True, it's got a cool riff and everything, but I don't know, they kind of fell off for me at that point, even though that album was a gigantic seller for them, as was Justice for All. They didn't do much for me. Having said that, so for Garage Days is all right. Some redos that I enjoyed. Bread Fan with Am I Evil, some good stuff there, but for me, nothing great. But now you get into the top 3, and that's when I do a 180. That's when they become one of the greatest bands on the face of the planet. So after having kind of knocked them down a peg, I guess, for their later stuff, now I'm going to lift them up, because the early albums, hard to beat. I mean, geez, phenomenal, world-changing, great albums. So at number 3, I would go with Ride the Lightning. First one I ever heard, Trapped Under Ice, you know, all that good stuff on there. Creeping Death, Call of Cthulhu, Fade to Black, all those songs were great. That album was probably one of my top 20 favorite albums of all time. So what's that say about 2 and 1? So they were just awesome on that album. Number 2, and my number 2 and my number 1, I juggled these back and forth for a while in my head because I like them both so much. They could really tie for first as far as I'm concerned, but I went ahead and put Master of Puppets at number 2, and geez, how do you beat it? You beat it with, there's one album that can beat it as far as I'm concerned, but you know, The Thing That Should Not Be, Battery, Jay, Merry Christmas, Leper Messiah, that album was awesome. That was another XDR, extended dynamic range. You felt like you were getting something extra when you bought those anyways, and usually they were clear, and that was cutting edge technology at that time. But Master of Puppets, love that one. And then number 1, debut, Kill 'Em All, raw. They didn't have a lot of money. They were struggling at the time. They put it out. They had their local fan base was already knew who they were. California, I guess San Francisco, and so on. They were making a name for themselves, and they got that put out. Wow. In my top 5 favorite albums of all time, Kill 'Em All, Whiplash, Jump in the Fire, just a great album. Four Horsemen, Burton's got bass solo, take 1, that just goes right into, all the great stuff. Phantom Lord, Jump in the Fire, Whiplash, Four Horsemen, everything on there is good. I love that album. So Kill 'Em All would be my favorite. A little bit raw, Lars has talked about it being, just kind of straight in your face. They didn't experiment or do a lot of things, and Cliff Burton hadn't shown James how to kind of structure around his riffs yet, and so James was playing a lot more straightforward at that time. And he's a great rhythm guitar player though, and he's so solid, and a great backer for Kirk, and that album was just in your face great. I mean, everything about it was great. I mean, you listen to Jump in the Fire, and the solo at the end of that is so tremendous. Jeez. Everything on that album was phenomenal, and it was Metallica unpolished and excellent, and maybe they reached their apex with Master of Puppets, but you take those 2 albums and put them side by side, it's kind of hard to pick between Kill 'Em All and Master, to me, which one was the better one. Great band, love them a lot. Their early stuff, later stuff, they lost something for me basically after Garage Days. I mean, Garage Days was all right, it's an EP, and I liked the whole 598 thing. I thought that was cool. Me and my buddies all thought that was cool. 598, don't pay any more for it. The original 598s, if it costs more than that, steal it or something. There used to be a little sticker on them that said that, but on the albums, I think it was on the tapes, but it's been a while. But anyways, yeah, so that's my take on Metallica. Let me know what you guys think. And you know, if you feel like subscribing, that's great. Don't cost anything, and I'm just doing this for fun. So, but yeah, the first three, Kill Ride Master, the best three. Peace out.